In this section, I'm going to have an overview of the second tool, SAP Lumira. Again, there are different versions for Lumira. One is Lumira Cloud. It's a cloud-based tool for developing visualizations, and also for showing visualizations and sharing visualizations with other users. Okay. Powered by SAP HANA, by the way. So everything is stored in the cloud and processed by SAP HANA. So here is some attributes of this particular product or tool. With this, there are several steps or several, I guess, functions that we can perform using Lumira. Okay, first, we can transform data. We can acquire data from different sources, and then we can transform them. We can standardize them if necessary. Okay, we can clean the data, we can combine them, and we can enrich data by using some basic analysis, for instance. All right, so that's the first step or the first function. And then the second step is visualize data and discover insights. Okay, so all the nice graphics that you see here, like a map or charts, are created by SAP Lumira. Okay, I mean, they have built-in chart types that allow easy visualization of data and then insight from those visualizations. And the third major function that Lumira provides is to share those beautiful stories. Okay, so once those visualizations are built, they can become part of a story. Okay, so we can create a story to describe what is happening in the US, for instance. Okay, so in different states, what do those dots mean, and in different colors and so on. Okay, so we can describe our story with pictures, and then we can share those stories in different devices with different users. All right, so again, the first major task or function is to acquire data. Okay, we can get data from all kinds of sources, including big data. Okay, you can get data from big data systems such as Amazon, EMR, Hive, Cloudera, Impala, and so on. Okay, and also you can get data from as simple as Microsoft Excel files and CSV files, and we can connect to SAP HANA cloud integration. Okay, so again, all kinds of data sources can be utilized. And then in the second step or the second function, then is to again cleanse, combine, and enrich data. Okay, we can clean the data, to edit, to remove errors if necessary. Okay, to edit data. And then we can enrich data to create calculated dimensions, calculated measures, and so on. Okay, so we can create additional data for analysis purposes. Okay, and then we can gain additional insights by merging data or appending other data, and so we can do some pretty basic data manipulation right there. Then the next step is to visualize data. Okay, again, they have wonderful collection of chart types to show data in different charts. okay, different formats as you experience in the Lumira assignment. Okay, so they have really a very rich library of charts, maps, and tables that anybody and any company should take advantage of. Okay, because as you know that picture is worth 1,000 words. It's more so today than any time in the past, because nowadays we have so much data to process, to make decision on, and if you just give a bunch of numbers to your managers, they probably won't know how to deal with them. But if you show them the map or graphic that shows some kind of trends or patterns, then that will help them tremendously. Okay, so you can use all kinds of maps, charts. You can do a geospatial analytics. You can also allow some interaction between your chart or map and users. Okay, so some interactive user experience, which I think a lot of people will appreciate. So some screenshots of building maps available. Again, you'll have a chance to experience some of the charts, and I do encourage you to explore and experiment, to click on, different chart types, just to see how your data will change based on different types of chart. Different types of charts. Okay, and then you may find one particular type is better than others in conveying your message. Visualization. Okay, so again, we can build those charts, and then couple of advantages here. Okay, one is agility. Again, we can use all kinds of data sources, including data from the web. You can include them in your visualizations. And speaking of which, Lumira has something called related visualizations. Okay, that is, once you acquire data into Lumira, you will try to present the data in some charts using certain measures and dimensions. Okay, you will take a guess at important business questions you might have, and then present those visualizations, and they are known related visualizations. Okay, so they are automatic, and so you can discover some relationships that are right there, okay, without doing any work. Okay, and of course you can then modify those visualizations if necessary for your requirements. And next, in addition to those built-in visualizations, Lumira allows extensions. Okay, so you can extend visualizations by creating your own, or you can use extensions created by third-party entities. Okay, there is a community devoted to Lumira, so anybody, in fact, can create extensions, and then can become part of the offerings of Lumira. Okay, so you can create all kinds of visualizations for custom and D3 based visualizations. I'm not very familiar with D3, but I did some research, I think it has to do with interaction. Okay, so we can include a lot of interaction in our visualizations, kind of like dashboards that you have built before. So once we have a chart, for instance, we can maybe point to different locations and then get different data points. Okay, but again, the point is that what's available is not fixed. What SAP is trying to do is to create a community so that interested people, anybody who is interested in this particular tool, can come here and share and learn from each other. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. And then once you create your Lumira visualizations and documents, you can then share those documents in different devices. Okay, mobile device, web browser, desktop, and so on. Okay, they will show exactly the same visualizations, of course, but in different resolutions. Again, some wonderful resources for additional learning and practicing on your own. Okay, make sure you take advantage of those resources.